The Books That Shaped Me is proudly sponsored by WinStar Insurance Group right out of Cedar Park, Texas. Owned and operated by Stephanie Dew, my dear friend. Early on in her career, she knew what it was like to feel undervalued. And she vowed that if she ever had an opportunity to be in leadership, she was going to do it different. And she does. She values each of her employees and her clients with the utmost integrity and respect and kindness that you'd ever imagine. So they've got a specialty in their business. They take care of first responders. They've got wineries, breweries, childcare facilities, and the employees themselves are so excited to be there. And they talk about how they haven't felt valued anywhere else like they do there. So it's hats off to Stephanie and WinStar Insurance Group because our values align with faith, trust, and authenticity. Thank you, Stephanie, from the bottom of my heart and those of us that hang out with the books that shaped me. Well, hey there, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of The Books That Shaped Me. I'm Angie Smith. I'm your host, and I don't even think I could be more excited than I am in this moment right now. I am joined in our conversation today with the beautiful Ms. Valentina MacGregor. Valentina and I met each other at a networking event with Austin businesswomen that is headed up by the lovely and amazing Vidya Morthy, who was also kind enough to be on this podcast as well. So if you didn't get a chance to hear her conversation, check it out. She is a powerhouse. But she's doing amazing things, bringing together the women leadership community in the Austin businesswomen. And we meet women of all kinds, from the personal owners to the people representing corporations and everybody in between. But we're showing up. We are encouraging each other. We are amplifying each other's voices. And that's exactly what we're here to do today. To hear the story, Ms. Valentina, that you've got to share with us about who you are, how you got here, and some of those moments that shaped who you are. So welcome.
Thank you. So happy to be here. Very honored that I share a stage with Vidya as well. She's amazing.
It's a strong platform to be on.
I know. She's great.
So I'm so glad to have you in the space with us today and just be ready and willing to share, from your heart and your experience. And I guess from the beginning, what brought you to this neck of the woods of Texas?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so that'll take a minute because I have lived everywhere. I've lived in a lot of different places. I was originally born in Buenos Aires, Argentina. My parents were in the process of moving from Italy to from Lake Como to Venezuela. So right now, Venezuela is very much on the news. So everyone seems to know where it is on the map. But and so I was born in Argentina. My parents are both from Argentina, and then promptly we moved to Venezuela. So I was 3 months old when we arrived to Venezuela, and I was 12 years old when we left. Arrived into the United States when I was 12. Was here until I was 18 and then decided to go to college abroad. So I actually went to college in Italy and was there for 3 years studying fashion design, and then came back to the US and started working for a company in Houston that gave me an opportunity to go work in London. So I was doing sales and marketing, and I happened to be pretty good at it. So they took me to London to open up offices there. And then we opened an office in Scotland and Glasgow, which is where I met my husband.
Oh my gosh.
And then we moved together to Spain, to Madrid. And then we moved back to the United States a couple of years after that. So truly have lived a little bit everywhere.
I feel like just hearing your journey, I've just visited these places. I've got just food, culture, opportunity. How rich, how beautiful.
Oh my gosh. I have 3 girls, and I always tell them, I encourage all of their friends and them to travel, to see the world, to live in different countries, not just travel for vacation, because that doesn't give you a true growth experience in the way that living somewhere abroad does. The things that you will learn about yourself living abroad, the things that you will learn about your own grit, because you have to figure things out a lot more. Back then we didn't have the internet. So there was a lot of things that I had to navigate without speaking the language initially in Italy, without knowing a soul. And I was 18 years old. So it was great, amazing growing experience, but not for the week.
I'm still just kind of marveling at it. I know Angela Duckworth has done a book and a study about grit being the number one predictor of success. So your life is truly a testament of it. And that's just completely fascinating to me because for me, I haven't unfortunately done a lot of traveling in my life, which is probably all the more reason I had to pick my job off the ground as you made your way through that story. Because I most recently started to get to travel and I'm like, my mind is blown, my horizons are stretched. And you're like, and just traveling's not enough. I mean, like, what a rich
Yeah.
experience if you actually get to embed yourself there for a bit.
Yeah, if you get to live. But having said that, grit, traveling is not the only way to get grit, right? And so life experiences that are difficult give us grit,
Yes.
especially the early ones. For me, I had a pretty nurturing and very great childhood, idyllic childhood. Otherwise, I went to private school. We were, affluent enough to have international travels and have great access and experiences. So I would say that the grit that I found it a little bit later. I had to through my travels, but for other people, it's their family life or it's the just their the bad dynamic in their family, their struggles. So
Sure.
there's so many different ways to acquire grit for sure, and life somehow has a way of making sure
Gives us
that.
each an opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
And it comes in so many different flavors, like you said,
Yeah.
right? Travel, family,
Yeah.
just the curveballs that life will throw you. But we have a choice. We all have a choice. What are we going to do when we're faced with that opportunity? And I think that those of us who say, okay, this is hard, and we're going to figure it out, we're going to piece it together, we're going to face that challenge. We're not going to let it make us lay down and suck
Yeah.
our thumb.
I like what you just said. You said, and that's a word that I'm trying to teach. One of my girls right now is just like, this is happening. And usually the next thing is but,
Mhm.
and replacing that with and. And what it does just automatically empowers you.
I love it.
No matter how negative that first thing is. And now,
Yeah.
now what are you gonna do? It just
Well,
kind of
you're
changes
totally
your point
you're
of
totally
view.
shining a light on exactly why I chose that word specifically. I've spent a lot of time spending effort and energy trying to change my own, growth mindset from an or to an and. Like
Yeah.
it can be two things at once. This is hard and we're going to overcome. So I'm glad we're
Yeah.
kind
I
of
love
subscribing
that.
to some similar
Yes.
thinking.
So good.
And you're teaching it to your daughter, which is the best.
Oh
That's
my
what we do.
gosh. I wish I had learned that when I was growing up. It's just I definitely had parents that they themselves had a lot of grit, and so they were strong people. But I think it was a different time as well. Those parents didn't have the access to information that we have now as parents, that we know we need to pass this information or teach to our kids. And so we listen to podcasts. We have so many ways of learning how to parent better. So for sure it's helpful because yeah,
We're all doing the best we can with what we've
totally.
got.
Totally.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the concept we're just on the shoulders of those giants before us.
Yeah.
So to your point of having a beautiful childhood and then growing that for your daughters for the next
Yeah.
generation.
I hope so. I don't know. I'm sure they'll find something that I did wrong, but that's all good.
Ain't nobody perfect around here. That's all right.
I mean, I tell them like my goal is that you spend a little time in therapy, but not none. It's never going to be none.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
There you go. That's a good goal, I think, because we learn tools. And even that saying, like, it takes a village to raise a child, right? I'm your parent. I'm going to do the best I can with what I know. And there's a coach and there's a therapist and there's a whomever, fill in the blank. But we all have a different way that we can speak into that child as they're on their formative years so they can become the best person of themselves.
100%. Yeah, for sure. It takes a village.
I
Yeah.
love it. Takes a village. So, Miss Valentina, the title of our conversation is The Books That Shaped Me. And it really is an open invitation to talk about books or moments or mentors. You've already kind of given us your tour around the world, but what else would you say were contributing factors that really helped shape who you are in your formative years?
I mean, early on, I had a few different experiences that definitely shaped me down my neck. And it had a bar going down the middle and the front, and two metal bars, about 2 inches thick, going across the back as well, and with a leather kind of thing that held it all together. And I had to wear that for 2 to 3 years, 23 hours a day.
Oh my God.
So imagine in your prime, like puberty years, when you are starting to become self-conscious, starting to become to work out that the world is different than from the
Mhm.
childhood eyes. I am in this brace. And initially, I think when I started in the brace, I just accepted it. I was only 10, so it really wasn't a big deal, except that I quickly realized I couldn't do pee.
Mm.
And sleepovers were kind of more complicated. I had to
Mm.
sleep in my brace, so there was certain beds that were just really uncomfortable, or like, top bunks I was not going to be able to get into because I couldn't bend
Wow.
in the normal way. And so for PE, I started reading. That's when I really picked up reading.
Mm.
I was already enrolled in the American school, so I was starting to really read in English. And it was just, it took me to different worlds. So while everyone else was doing PE, I was navigating and traveling already.
Yeah.
And I love that. And then for everything else, I just always found like, okay, well, I just can't do that, but I can do all these other things. And it was fine. And then we moved internationally. We moved to the United States when I was 12, and I still was wearing this back brace for another year. So I was the new girl from South America in a brand new school with a back brace.
Wow.
And so I remember in Venezuela, they called me RoboCop, and then I moved here and I realized nobody called me anything, but it was definitely I was noticed,
Yeah.
right? So good and bad, I think that just made it to where I was like, "Well, that's their problem." I'm wearing this because it's medically necessary,
Mhm.
and it's avoiding a really big surgery and potentially lifelong
Yeah.
things for me. So, I just was not an issue, and I always think I'm like, I think that was one of the starting points to me being a little different and a little bit, like, of a I don't know, like, I just don't hesitate, I'm not fearful, I'm not a person that cares what others think truly,
Mhm.
so I think that has made a lot of other decisions in my life much easier, and it made me a lifelong reader because
Mm.
I do feel like I've got so many life experiences just from reading books, fiction or nonfiction.
Wow. I tell you, friend, when I asked the question, what has shaped you? I didn't know that you were going to take me there because
Oh,
it physically shaped you,
literally, yeah.
physically shaped your body to
Mhm.
prevent a really awful outcome in the future and then open the door for books to shape you.
Yeah, 100%.
Man, you just took me full circle.
I did. I mean, I had thought about it because I'm like, why, what book has impacted me? And then I thought about, like, I kind of went reversed it back as I was driving over here. And it really dawned on me. I'm like, I really started reading because I wore that back brace. Had that experience not happened, so many things would be
Be
different.
different.
And my confidence level and my, so many things, I would just have been a very different person. So I'm very proud of that. And I wonder if that back brace is still somewhere in my parents' attic.
Somewhere
That
in
would
the
be weird.
corner, the dust is
Wouldn't be surprised.
that is so amazing.
Yeah.
And so at the time, like you said, it's the formative years, not only for your body, but your heart, your mind, your
Yeah.
awareness of how you are seen and perceived by others. And so it gave you that opportunity to be like, okay, I'm noticing something different and I'm still okay. And I'm able to navigate and do this instead. I mean, I just feel like for me personally, my kind of parallel to that is I found theater arts in those formative years. And I've learned that I can be silly and weird and different on this stage. I kind of had permission to be weird,
Yeah.
be loud, be extra. And then I was like, you know what? Not everybody's going to like what I do, but I kind of made some peace with it's okay because I'm able to rock and roll in this space. So I feel like that's kind of a
Yeah.
similar lesson that we both learned of making our peace with being different or not exactly in the flow
Honest
with everyone.
I don't know that I ever made my peace with it. I've just always understood that it's none of my business what other
Amen.
people think of me. It
Amen.
literally isn't my business.
Yeah. Not going to
They can
worry
think
about.
whatever they want. It
Yeah.
is their thoughts and they're not mine, and it does not affect me. I don't know why, but that has always been the case. And I did grow up with a really strong mom, and she was like that. So I think I just saw it fashioned, and I was like, well, easy enough. Like, she seemed to
Yeah.
work for her, and I can do that.
Well, can I explore just a minute? Because you just said
Yeah.
the word fashioned and
Yeah.
you said you went to school for fashion.
Yes.
Is the heartbeat of fashion like to kind of push the edge?
So it really depends on who you speak to. I think fashion, like any art or any industry in general, has different facets, and the person that leads whatever brand is kind of sets that tone. There's definitely brands that are much more focused on exploring the feminine energy and the beauty and really like the body and just making it all about the woman and the experience of wearing those clothes. And because we all experience different things when we get dressed, whether or not we want to. And there's definitely times where it's what you said. Remind me again, your question was
just like when as a person who hasn't been in fashion and I see the runway or the Vogue magazine, I'm like, wow, they are just pushing the boundary. Like how stretchy and how different.
Part of it, when you see the runway shows, I'll tell you that because I was in Milan for 3 years and we would sneak into all the fashion students we would sneak in. I would speak English really fast, so no one could speak English at the time. So it was very easy. So we'd sneak into all the fashion shows. And this was in the 90s. So it was a lot of fun with all the supermodels.
The height of fashion.
Oh, so fun. But when a designer puts out and designs the runway show, what they're actually putting out is often not what's being sold in the stores. It is to kind of set the tone for the line, for that trend, for the season.
Okay.
So it does not mean that exactly that piece is going to be in the store. Oftentimes, a much more ready to wear option is already, that's the design and that's what's being sold in the stores. But they want to push the envelope because they know that's what's going to get photographed. That's what's going to end up in the magazines and all the editorial, everything. So yeah. And then there are the people that would wear those really crazy things that you're like, who's going to wear that? There's always that one person. So, hey, power to them.
There you go. There you go. I love that. Well, and the ability to be on that stage, to rock that look, that moment, and then just own it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that there is a lot of women out there that are high powered, that know themselves, that have deeper pockets to spend on high fashion, that would want to wear that runway look because they don't apologize for, or they don't want to blend in. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what that's designed for. But there's certainly not the stuff that's going to end up in the stores from sizes extra small to extra large. So
yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Well, thank you for that experience. That kind of peephole.
A little glimpse.
Because I had, like you said, in the 90s, the books. And then, of course, we have Devil Wears Prada. But that's the closest I get to the insight. So,
oh, my gosh. So a full circle coming to this. My daughter was telling me my middle one is doing an internship in New York right now at a big PR agency. And she is doing the internship in the World Trade Center. So she's like, I've already seen Anna Wintour twice. But she's like, but we can't bring our phones out in the lobbies. Like it's a strict no phone policy because there's really high powered,
people.
Sensitive people. So so I thought that was so crazy. I'm like, that is fascinating because I would see her in the front of all of the runway shows.
Wow.
You know, you just saw her from afar. You knew who she was. So.
Well, you're just expanding my horizons. I love it.
And I love the beauty of being a little bit older. You definitely get more experiences.
And your daughter to have those opportunities too.
Oh yeah. It's such a great experience for her. I love it. I love that she's fearless. She's a lot like me and that she says yes to things and then wonders, wait, how is this going to work? I did that my whole life, still do. Yeah. And not often, but sometimes it has shot me in the foot, and but most of the time it works out
for the most part, right?
It's all good.
We're still here. It's like that phrase that says, yeah, but did you die?
Exactly.
No, I didn't die. I'm still here. We're good.
That's the worst that can happen. Yeah. If it's not death, then go for it.
Game on. I call it my Barton Springs way of living life because I just say you just got to jump right in.
Oh my gosh. It's too cold to do it any other way for sure. I just went. Yeah.
I know.
I feel like it gets colder as I get older. I'm like, oh my gosh.
That's why you got to jump. I feel like if you try to inch, it hurts and you're not going to do it. So I got to jump in.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
All right. What else? So that was a very huge shaping moment in your early years. What else, Miss Valentina?
Okay. So from that, like, I think that for me, there is a few things, but one of the main things has been, I've always been an immigrant. I've actually never lived in the country that I'm originally from. Mm-hmm. My parents are both from Argentina. They grew up in Argentina. I was born in Argentina. In my home, we were very Argentinian in our traditions and our food and our everything, the World Cup, all of the things. But I never lived there. I've lived in Venezuela, in the US and Italy and the UK and Spain. And I have always been an immigrant. And I think that really shapes you because I'm really aware of what it's like to be an outsider and to not 100%. I've lived in Texas a big chunk of my life. I still know I'm not from Texas.
Mhm.
And I feel it, and I know others are well aware of it, and I'm okay with it, but I think it's definitely one of those things that makes you really adept at, number 1,
Mhm.
blending in if you need to,
Yeah.
and number 2, being able to adapt your way of speaking to anyone.
Yeah.
And understanding that everyone's sensitivities are different, and just that, like, ability to adapt to anyone. I think that's, like, probably one of the things that I get in I think I have 80 odd, 5-star reviews right now in my business, and when I had an exercise where I asked Claude to, like, look at my Google reviews and tell me what are the common things and that people say, and that's the thing that I make them feel so comfortable. And I
Wow.
think it comes from that. It comes from always being a little uncomfortable myself
Yes.
in not growing up where I'm from and not kind of matching my accent doesn't match where I'm from. People are surprised when I speak Spanish. People are surprised when I speak English, like, or Italian. Like, they don't expect me to not have an accent, or they're, like, surprised that I speak another language because I don't really have a strong accent. So it's, there's a lot of things there to unpack, but I think that's what makes me, like, really easy have that ability to kind of adapt to everybody that I work with, and I love that.
I love it.
I'm really proud of that.
It's beautiful. It's exercised your empathy muscle, right?
Yeah,
You've
yeah.
you've known what it feels like to be the other in the
Mhm.
situation, and because of that, you've got that sensitivity to connect
Yeah.
and be a trust builder,
Yeah.
which helps people feel comfortable in the work that you do, where
Yeah.
you help them feel that like their most beautiful self, and you capture that.
Oh, I appreciate that. I think I think making people feel at ease is probably one of the most important things in getting a true portrait of someone. I think that we can always capture, the ideal, but it doesn't mean you're capturing their soul. And that's really the goal for me, at least as a
Mhm.
photographer. And that might be why I love more and more skin versus more and more clothes,
Mm.
because I mean, I just think that the more we strip it down, the more you really get that person and who they are. So
It's the opposite of the layers that we layer on. You're
yeah,
removing the layers so we have authenticity shining through.
yeah.
Wow.
And it also means that it makes it a little bit harder for them to hide behind. One of the things that I've toyed with this year is doing portraits of people that are unretouched, because I'm like, we don't need to retouch every image, and let's see how others react to their images being taken in beautiful lighting and beautiful everything, but they're not retouched. I'm not going to remove
Mm.
your wrinkles or your whatever.
Yeah.
So, and it's good. It's actually really refreshing to see that some of the younger generation, less women my age, more women like your age and below, that are open to it, and that love seeing those pictures of
Love that
themselves.
image.
So I think we're going to be okay as a society.
All right.
That's
That's
good.
beautiful. We're
Yeah,
seeing that glimmer
I
and
know.
glimpse, and we're going for it.
I
I
know.
love it.
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing, in thinking about, I know the title of your podcast is Books That Shaped You. And one of the books that I read early on, I think I may have been a teenager when I read it, and I'm sure many of your readers are familiar with it, is The Alchemist, and or your listeners, sorry, is The Alchemist. And it's an amazing book about a journey and kind of having that self-possession and that like trusting your heart and whatever higher power you believe in. And I've always lived it that way, that I've kind of there's a lot of decisions that I've made that have not made sense to anyone else but me.
Mhm.
And I'm okay with that. Like, when everything else points to a different direction and you're like, but I just feel in my heart that this is what I'm
Mhm.
meant to do.
Mhm.
And it makes no sense. I just know that this is and I have always stuck to my guns
Yes.
and done what my mom always says. She's like, you always do what you want. Well, yeah, because I just know that it's the right decision for me.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the right decision for anybody else. And I think that right now, with all of the information overload that we have, that we are constantly being stimulated by, it's so important to stop listening to other voices
Mhm.
and listen to your own, and just
Yes.
like listen to your heart. And what is it that where are you meant to be? What are you meant to do with the gifts that you have? And finding that sense of purpose. But you can't listen to it if you don't have that silence.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Exactly true. I know for me, whenever I was in my earlier formative years, and even now, right, if I'm processing through something that's weighing on my head or my heart, hearing those opinions or voices, it feels like maybe I'm trying on like different jackets. Okay, well, that's your thought. That's this one. Yeah, that doesn't really fit. That doesn't really work for me. But if I can, like you said, carve out the time to quit trying to fit into someone else's form
Yeah.
and be silent and check in, the opportunity
Yeah.
presents itself. It feels kind of like an air bubble bubbling up.
Yeah. That's a
Yeah.
good, I like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so true. It's always been true in my life. So I definitely, yeah.
All righty. So The Alchemist was a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any others you'd like to shout out?
Books wise?
Or moments or
Okay,
mentors?
moments. Oh gosh, I have a lot of moments. I had a crazy life. But so we moved to the States. My brother I have two sisters and we had my brother. So I grew up, I'm the third. And it was my older sister, my brother, and then my younger sister. And between my two sisters, there's almost 5.5 years between us. So this is a broad gap. My brother was right in between my older sister and I, and he was only 3 years apart from me. And him and I were very close, but he was born with a heart condition, very severe heart condition when he was born in Italy. And he had, I think, 2 surgeries by the time he was 12, 2 or 3 surgeries, by open heart surgeries by the time he was 12. And so when we moved to the States, that's why we moved. My dad, my parents, well, his heart surgeon told him, you need to be in the United States. It's the future. He's going to need a heart transplant, and that's where you need to be. And so my dad managed to get an amazing job and move us to the US. And that my brother had his first transplant at 19 and his second transplant at 26. So those were two really like big moments where your life kind of stops. I think everyone jokes about how life has a way of everything feels important until your health or someone in close to you, until their health
Pumps
is a
the
problem,
brakes.
and nothing else all of a sudden matters. Yeah. And that is exactly true how that works. And so anyways, so the second time around, the first time was a successful, amazing match for him. And he had that transplant for 6 years, that heart for 6 years. But he developed an artery disease and he had needed to have a second transplant. And the second transplant wasn't as much of a good match. And after 1.5 years, he went into rejection, which is the biggest risk with any transplant patient. So, but that second transplant, my mom had always been there for all of his surgeries. My dad worked, my mom, kind of took care of everything else, very traditional kind of growing up. But that second surgery, my mom was a wreck. She just kind of had taken for granted that he was going to be okay forever after that first transplant. And so I actually had just moved back from Italy. So I moved to be with him in Houston, and being 8 hours a day as like a full-time job with him in the hospital as he was waiting for a transplant was, just so life-changing. And I'm so glad I did that, because I would never have that time back. When I think, these kids nowadays, you think there's a lot of, with Instagram and with all the self-development stuff, that everyone's like, you got to be doing this, you got to be doing that. And at the end of the day, it's like there's so many life experiences and so many lessons to be had from just spending time doing sometimes the very thing you're not meant to be doing, which is just stopping and not doing anything and spending time with loved one.
Like being grounded.
Yeah, yeah,
You got
exactly.
grounded.
Yeah, I definitely did. I did it to myself, but I knew that was what my family needed at the time, and I was the one to do it. I was in the best position. I was kind of in transitioning from school to didn't have a job yet, so it was the perfect situation. And I will never have that time back. It's just so beautiful that I
Wow.
did that, and that it was so. I mean, I think that was one of the biggest gifts I got with my brother.
How
Is just
long was that season for
it
you?
was 3 months that I was 100% like with him, and then I started work. He got a transplant and I was able to start working, and then my parents put us in an apartment together so I could, you know, they just felt so much better that I was there with him. And so, yeah, it was probably another year and a half after that that I stayed, and that's when I had started working with a company that took me to the UK. And I realized he was doing, or it was maybe just less than a year and a half, it would have been. I was maybe 6 months in the UK when he passed away. So, but yeah, it was, I just think back, I'm like, I'm so glad I did that. I'm so glad I have zero regret. I just knew that's where I was meant to be, and that everything else would work itself out. I had no job. I had no idea what I was going to do with my life beyond that. But I had just come back from school, and I was a little bit in limbo. And that was what
It
was
aligned.
needed for me. Yeah. And what my family needed. And it worked out perfect. I mean, obviously, finances were taken care of by my parents, but I'm so grateful that we were able to have that time together. And then when I moved to the UK, I knew he was fine. And I knew also that I couldn't hold back my life for him.
Yes.
Like, I
Yes.
think I knew
The season had come. Yeah.
yeah, that he wouldn't have wanted that. So
Yeah.
it was, yeah, it was the
And
perfect pause in
he's
my
still
life.
with us.
Oh,
Okay.
100%.
Just 'cause the way you said that sentence right there is like he wouldn't have wanted. I thought, oh,
Oh,
he was in agreement with you. The season was
sorry,
ready
no,
to shift.
he did pass. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry, I didn't understand. For
oh,
me, he's always with me. So
of
he
course,
is,
yes.
yeah, he passed away when he was 27. When I
Oh,
was in the
okay,
UK, I was
okay.
living in Glasgow, and he passed away from rejection.
The
Your body
complications.
rejects the organ, and yeah, it was hard, but it was fast, and I think he was
Yeah.
done. I think he probably had already tried, that was his journey. So
Thank
it
you for
was, oh,
sharing.
you're welcome. It's been long enough that it's easy to talk about.
I feel grounded in this moment because at the beginning, I'm asking you your story. You're zipping us around the world, and now we just take just a bit more of a moment, and you ground us in that moment.
Oh.
And it's a story we want to share and capture. So thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's life, isn't it? It's just life is like so many ups and downs, and moments of joy and moments of grief, and it's never stagnant, and it's never just one thing. I always tell my girls, enjoy the good times because they don't last, but neither do the bad ones,
No.
and that's okay.
Yeah.
It is it's a very valuable lesson as well to know that you don't take anyone for granted because you
No.
never know.
You never know.
So yeah, for me, that was that I really had to learn that. Like, I knew that. I mean, I knew that all growing up because his condition was severe enough that we always knew
Yeah.
that his life was at stake. So we were very grateful to have 27 years with him, thanks to
Yeah.
science and faith and all the things. So yeah.
And to your point of him still being with us here right now
Yeah.
and in this moment. I mean,
Yes.
to share.
Yes.
I
He's
love
always
it.
with me.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I mean, you've kind of delivered some really big story. I mean, is there any more moments that you feel on your
gosh.
heart to share in this moment?
I mean, I think I don't know. I think I wonder what your listeners um I know that it's a little bit about books, but I think it's really, like you said, a lot about the experiences that shape you. And I think the only way you can do that is to have those experiences. So don't be like, for me, part of it is because I wasn't a fearful person, that I just put myself in situations that were hard and different and new to me. But if you don't do those things, then you'll never know who you could have been
Yeah.
who you could have been,
Yeah.
period. And that's just like that alone is such a valuable um thing to carry with you as we get older. I'm 48 years old, so I'm starting to approach that point in my life and I'm like, okay, I'm probably over midlife, like over half of my life is over. But the formative years, you don't really remember them. So
Yeah.
you don't know,
Yeah.
what you didn't have control over those, but I have control over the rest of it. And
Yes, you do.
that's really exciting for me. I think that's knowing how much my business has grown in the last few years and how much I've grown because I took that leap of faith with my business, with launching it, with growing it, with adding the studio and all of the different things. And I think it's just, yeah, I'm very privileged. I feel super, super blessed and super happy that.
Well, if I may, I feel like the recurring theme that I'm hearing from you that you're sharing with us, me and our listeners, is showing up and being seen as
Mhm,
opposed to doing the easier thing, kind of fading to black, fading
mhm.
to the norm. And you just said that doesn't work for you. And you've created a beautiful life with a huge impact. And I love the vein of photography where you're able to make something that will last forever,
Yeah.
capturing that beautiful moment.
Yeah. I think that's key that your legacy should live on and through stories and obviously through pictures, but through stories, really.
Yeah.
And the only way you create those stories is by actually having those different experiences. So, yeah.
Well said. Well said.
Mhm.
Well, my heart feels just blessed and grown, and like you've just deposited life and hope into
Oh,
me. So
thank
thank you
you.
so much for this conversation.
Thank you. Thank you for
If there's
having me.
any folks that would like to connect with you, Valentina, what is the best way for them to reach out?
Oof, gosh, I'm everywhere. So I am on Instagram as Valentina dot portraiture or Valentina Party MacGregor, my full name. And then I'm also my website, Valentina MacGregor, Valentina Portraiture. And then I'm on LinkedIn as Valentina MacGregor and
All the
all of the
places.
ways. Yes,
Make
find
an
me.
energy and an effort, and they'll find you.
I am a busy girl and I have no problem being on social media and on all the
Yeah, we'll
platforms because I think
share.
it's
That's right.
so,
We're
yeah,
sharing.
yes.
Are there any things, projects, or anything else in closing that you're working on that excites you that you would like to share?
Yeah, I work on consistently. I always work on every year my Legends project. So it's women over 40 that have primarily women over 40. There are some just under 40 that have made major life pivots. And so I photograph them, I do a little brief interview with them. And we actually do an exhibit at the end of the year. Well, now it's going to be in January, but we do that and it's amazing. It's a women only exhibit. We do it in the evening. We have only vendors, women only sponsors, and it is just all black and white. Photographs are in black and white, and it's really beautiful. And I think it's
Wow.
really fascinating to hear the stories of women that have pivoted. I mean, we've had some women as old, I think, as young as 74 that have participated in this project. So it's incredible. It's a lot of fun.
I am looking forward to that. That just sounds
Yes.
amazing. I'm in this season of my life where I recently did a pivot, and on LinkedIn, when that happened, I just shared that news, and I titled it "The Power of the Pivot."
Oh, I
And
love
so
that.
it just kind of I'm looking forward to
Uh,
showing up to
yes,
what you're going to have.
absolutely. Yes.
Thank you again, Valentina, for this conversation. It was very life giving, very enriching.
Oh,
I wish you all the best in your adventures and how you're going to keep helping all of us rise to be the very best
oh,
that
I
we
could
are.
say the same for you, Angie. So,
Thank
so
you.
good.
Thank you all for joining us for this conversation. We just continue to look for folks who are shining their light. And if you know any, send them my way. I'd love to have a conversation. Thanks again for joining us. Have a blessed and beautiful day. Thanks for tuning in for another conversation. These conversations are aimed at empowering, educating, and just enlifting each of us up in our journey on life. I am always open to connecting with you as a potential guest or as a sponsorship opportunity. And there's ways to connect with me on my website, angiesmithsummitconsulting.com. You can book some time with me. We can chat, we can explore, and maybe we can go on the next leg of our journey together, which might even involve some life coaching. I'm here to connect, I'm here to grow, and I'm here for you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I look forward to chatting and visiting again soon. Thank you.